Hello, my name is Victoria Wright, and I am the author of The Quiet Butterfly. I'd like to thank the Boulder Bookstore for giving me this opportunity to share this book with you and the background on how and why I wrote this book. The Quiet Butterfly is a young adult book about a young woman who is 16 years old, and she doesn't want to be anything like her mother. Her mother had her at the age of 16 and didn't graduate from high school. So she's doing everything within her power to not be the same way. However, she's experiencing a constant barrage of bullying, no matter where they live. The main character, Nipa Irving, she is multiracial. She is Native American as well as African American and doesn't seem to fit in either culture. So no matter whether she lives on the reservation or if she's living in the inner city, she meets bullies. And no matter what she does, it doesn't seem to be able to alleviate the problem. But because of her mother, always on the move, looking for another job or maybe a new relationship, she has the ability to escape briefly because they move to a new location. This story is about bullying. It's about coming of age, but it's also about the bully inside. Because eventually the bullies will go away. But the impacts, the seeds that they plant within the person's head, if not managed, can stay with them for the rest of their lives. What has inspired me to write this book? I have and continue to deal with the inside bully. That voice that's in the back of your head, always running on a loop. At the time that I was writing this book, I had just made a significant change in my life. Leaving corporate America, becoming an author, and there were many times where I found that I was questioning myself, doubting my abilities. And that voice inside my head, that bully that stemmed from many years ago, got louder and louder and louder, making me shut down more and more, having me question whether I can actually do things that I had done before. And coupling that with the experiences that my son was having in school, dealing with with some bullies, I was like, how is it that kids these days can actually manage this? Not only do you have physical bullying, you've got virtual bullying. And I am a grown adult and I'm still trying to get over the impacts of some of the experiences that I had. How are they able to cope? And so my hope is that there is some wisdom that's within this book that will help them understand that it's what's inside of them, that they have the strength to overcome, and that other people's opinions of them don't matter. What truly matters is what they believe of themselves. Did I have trouble with bullies growing up? I'd say probably 99.9% of everyone in this population has experienced a situation where they were bullied. And I can remember some instances. Was it bullying or was it discrimination? Are they different? Are they the same? But I do remember experiences that I have had in my life that have carried on throughout my life and have limited the things that I have wanted to do. Why did I decide to have poetry in this book written by a character who is already passed on versus someone who is alive? The reason why I included poetry in this book is because I'm pulling off of the Native American heritage, my Native American heritage, and the relationship that the main character Nipa has with her grandfather who has passed on. And the relationship that they have is extremely special. And through his poetry, he is explaining to her how nature has wisdom that can guide her through her life. They call Nipa a butterfly. And this book is broken up into the 4 sections or the 4 phases of the life of a butterfly. And through the poetry, through her deceased grandfather's wisdom, she is able to find her own way, because at times she feels by herself. She's lonely. She seeks guidance. And unfortunately, her mother at that juncture isn't able to give it to her. So she goes back to the relationship that she has with her deceased grandfather. And as her grandmother has always told her, all she has to do is think about him, and he will come to her, and he will guide her. My writing process. What is my writing process? I think it's kind of unique. I don't know. I, in all honesty, never envisioned myself being a writer. I went to school for business, and then I went to law school. I worked in the nonprofit sector. I worked in corporate America. My writing included PowerPoint presentations and legal briefs. Creativity, fiction was not something that I ever thought that I would do. However, I had a big change in my life, and it opened me up to other areas of me that I may not have explored before, the more creative side. And as such, I decided to start writing. And truly, my process is that I sit in a quiet room. I put my fingers on the laptop. I close my eyes, and something comes to me. And then I just go with it. As I said, I'm not formally trained, but there are stories within me. There's guidance that I'm given that allows me to write stories that have the intent of guiding others, pulling upon my experiences that I've had in my life, some of my trials, tribulations, trying to be as vulnerable as possible, and sharing that in a way that others can take some wisdom from. What are a couple of books that I've read recently that I've loved? Particularly in more of the young adult area, I had read recently and absolutely loved. The book is entitled Me Moth by Amber McBride. And I don't want to tell you too much about it. It's such a special book that I devoured it really in one night, and it has stayed with me. An amazing writer. The other book for young adults was The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. And that book, she did a wonderful job in being able to highlight the Native American heritage and how it plays into the lives of our youth today. It's a contemporary story and talks about tradition, yet the trials of living in modern society. And again, an amazing story, amazing author. So those two books I would highly recommend. I would like to just say a few additional things about The Quiet Butterfly. I know that it is dubbed a young adult book because the main character is 16 years old. However, I do feel that anyone who reads the book will walk away with wisdom. It is a story of coming of age, not only for Nipa, but it's also a transformation of herself and the people within her life. And I think it touches upon issues that many of us have experienced or at least are aware of in our lifetime. And so I would say that parents, young adults, anyone would find this book interesting, hopefully entertaining, and something that they can use in their life. I'd like to read a short passage now from the book. This is from the first chapter. Sets the whole stage for the book. I woke to the shrill of Mom's voice. Ma, why can't you just let me be? You're never satisfied. Typically, I'd bury my head in a pillow to drown out the fighting and try to fall back to sleep. But this time, it sounded different. Serious. Quietly, I slipped out of bed. The creak of the old wooden stairs alerted them to my presence, and they went quiet for a moment. Grandma was in her chair by the window, shaking her head. She loved sitting by the window, giving her a front row seat to the comings and goings of the neighborhood. Her once beautiful, thick, black braids that framed her face were now white, a stark contrast to her light brown skin. Over the years, her eyes had dulled, but she was still a stunning native woman. Grandpa liked to say, a real looker. Grandma gazed out of the window for what seemed like an eternity, then turned back to Mom. Nina, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of fighting. You and Nipa must go. Grandma's voice cracked, trying to hold back her emotion. My heart sank. In my head, I screamed, no! But as usual, nothing came out. They both could see the pain in my eyes. Instead of responding, Mom took a deep breath, looked at me and said, come on, Nipa, let's pack our things. Before leaving the room, Mom said, don't worry, Ma. We'll be gone in the morning. Grandma looked so frail sitting in her chair, tears streaming down her face. I desperately wanted to ask her to change her mind, to beg her to let us stay, to assure her that Mom would change and we wouldn't be any trouble. But since Grandpa died, nothing had been the same. More than ever before, Grandma pushed Mom to do more with her life, to stop chasing men and to live up to her potential. Grandpa had never pushed like Grandma. He was softer with Mom, reassuring her that everything would be okay. Grandma thought he was too forgiving, and Grandpa thought she was too tough on Mom, which caused friction between my grandparents. Mom had never liked being told what to do, and with Grandpa gone, the disagreements between Mom and Grandma increased. I could tell Mom missed Grandpa by the lost look in her eyes after she and Grandma argued. We all missed Grandpa. Since he died, I watched my grandmother age before my eyes. I felt it would not be long until she joined him. Before sunrise, we packed the vintage Jeep Wagoneer with a few belongings we owned and were ready to go. Dented with a few spots of rust, it was the most reliable car Mom had ever owned. It used to be Grandpa's, and he kept it in perfect condition. When he died, it was the only thing he left Mom. Before Mom could say no, I ran back into the house. There was no way I could leave without saying goodbye to my grandma. She was the most stable person in my life, and I knew this would be the last time I'd see her. Quietly, I opened her bedroom door and knelt beside her bed, taking her once strong and guiding hand that now had become frail in mine, and whispered, "I love you." Grandma opened her eyes. Tears filled them. "Nipa, you're an exquisite young lady. You are our beautiful butterfly. Know your grandpa is watching over you. Think of him, and he will come to you if you are frightened, lonely, or just need a friend." She squeezed my hand and slowly repeated, "No, he will always come to you." "Grandma, I don't want to leave you. Don't make me go," I pleaded. "Nipa, you must. It will not be long before I join your grandfather. You and your mother need to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Your mother needs you and you need her. Stay strong and know we love you. Always have and always will. Now go. Your mother is waiting." Gently I kissed Grandma on the forehead, feeling her soft skin on my lips and looking at her loving face one last time. I seared the moment into my memory and then quietly closed her door behind me. Forcing myself to leave the only place I considered home, I was also leaving the last person who truly saw me. I climbed into the car as Mom quickly wiped a tear from her eye. We drove in silence. Thank you, and I hope you find this book interesting. I hope you're able to get some nuggets of wisdom, and I hope that you share it with others.